Have you ever wondered why some women move forward with confidence while others feel stuck? Most of us, as women, go through life trying to please, handle everything, and fit in. But all that leads to is exhaustion, constant self-doubt, and disconnection from who we truly are. Meanwhile, women who win take a different path. They think differently. They make more conscious decisions. They know what to tolerate, what to ignore, and where to invest their energy. They follow rules that work, rules that free them, rules that bring their lives back into alignment, without asking anyone for permission. And today, you're going to learn the 7 rules that every smart and empowered woman lives by, and how they can completely transform your life. 1. Recognize your deepest value. How many times have you felt like you had to do more, be more, please more, just to feel barely enough? How often have you measured your worth by your productivity, your results, or other people's approval? The truth is, we were taught to believe that our value lies in what we deliver, not in who we are. Many times, we chase after achievements more to prove something than from genuine desire. That's a reflection of an old emotional model. 1. Where affection was earned like a prize, and acceptance was always conditional. This pattern pushes us into autopilot, disconnects us from ourselves, and makes us forget what's essential. Our worth doesn't come from outcomes. It comes from our essence. Everything we've already achieved, and everything we'll still achieve, begins with who we are. Not what we show, but what we carry within. True worth doesn't need to be earned. It needs to be recognized within us. It's revealed when we allow ourselves to dive inward and stop measuring our value by external expectations. The most powerful part of our worth is non-transferable. It's already within you. Society may have taught you to doubt it, but your soul has always known. Yes, improving your performance matters. Of course it does. But your foundation, what gives you real value, was already built into you at birth. And that's something smart and empowered women deeply understand. That's why they trust themselves. Because they know that nothing external can erase what's internal. Once we recognize this, we shift the axis of our lives. We begin to act from our center and choose more carefully where to place our energy and our time. 2. Value your time. Valuing your time means understanding that it's a currency you never get back. Almost every time we automatically say yes to the world, we're silently saying no to ourselves. That's natural, even inevitable, but it comes at a cost. That's why it needs to be a conscious choice. Chronic stress, mental exhaustion, decision fatigue. All of it is the result of time that's poorly distributed. And the ones who mismanage and deprioritize themselves in their own schedule, it's us. When we live in constant motion with no pause to feel, we lose touch with what truly matters, and with ourselves. Not valuing your time means giving up on what you could be building with it. Managing your time isn't just about logic. It's also about emotional priorities. When we give our time and energy to everything and everyone without discernment, we drift away from our own goals. Smart and empowered women have learned to be clear and intentional about where they place their focus. They don't clutter their schedules with things that aren't aligned with their values and long-term vision. Understand this. Being busy isn't the same as making progress. Real growth requires focus, direction, and intention. Valuing your time means learning how to filter. It means realizing that not every demand deserves your response, not every urgency is yours to handle, and not every invitation is an opportunity. It takes courage to eliminate the excess, to delegate what doesn't belong to you, and to make space for what truly drives your projects and strengthens your future vision. The time you respect is the time that respects you back. And it's worth saying this clearly. Part of your time must be reserved for your self-care. Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. 3. Self-care is a priority. A smart woman understands that self-care isn't a luxury. It's a strategy for preservation. Science has proven that lack of rest disrupts the nervous system, increases irritability, and compromises essential cognitive functions. And we're not just talking about skincare or taking a weekend off. We're talking about a real commitment to your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual balance. We, as women, were taught to feel valuable only when we're exhausted. That mindset disconnects us from our bodies and our boundaries. An empowered woman breaks away from that logic. She sees her body as an instrument of creation and achievement. And that's why it needs to be respected. That means making space to recharge, yes. But it also means knowing when to pause, noticing the signs, stepping out of autopilot. It's not about stopping everything. It's about not letting everything stop you. If you neglect your self-care, sooner or later, you'll pay the price in the form of burnout, low productivity, or emotional imbalances. And I've lived this myself. I spent 2 years in depression, completely unproductive. Don't let it come to that, Majesty. On the other hand, when self-care becomes a priority, our entire life begins to realign. We make more conscious choices, communicate with more clarity, and feel more grounded in who we are. That inner stability is what separates women who are merely surviving from those who are truly living with purpose. 4. Keep learning. Another clear rule smart women live by is to always be evolving. And lifelong learning is one of the most powerful tools for personal transformation. When we stop learning, we cut off our ability to grow. Neuroscience has already shown that the female brain is highly adaptable. In other words, the more you expose yourself to new knowledge, the more flexible your mind becomes, more capable of breaking patterns, expanding possibilities, and responding to life's challenges with emotional intelligence. But it's not just about collecting information. Learning is a process of reconnecting with your inner power. From a spiritual perspective, every new insight isn't something external being added to you. It's something internal being revealed. It's like you're simply peeling back the layers that were covering a wisdom that's always been there. Intellectual growth and spiritual growth go hand in hand, because both require presence, curiosity, and a willingness to see the world with fresh eyes. The belief that it's too late to change only serves to keep us stuck exactly where we are. And there's no doubt that belief is destructive. Smart and empowered women understand that learning isn't a phase of life, it's a lifestyle. They read, they listen, they observe, and they stay in motion. They question what they've always believed. They make time to feed their minds with what strengthens their souls, and this ongoing commitment to expansion is what builds their autonomy and helps them make more conscious choices, especially about who they allow into their lives. 5. Surround yourself with people who empower you. No woman truly grows when she's surrounded by relationships that sabotage her. Toxic connections weaken your self-esteem, distort your sense of reality, make you question your identity, and pull you off your path. And the worst part? Many of these relationships feel so normal that we don't even realize how much they're draining us. Smart and empowered women understand that their environment directly affects their evolution. They know that keeping people around who constantly devalue them is like trying to fly with rocks in your pockets. In psychology, this is called systemic influence. We absorb the behaviors, beliefs, and limitations of those we spend the most time with. That means if you want to be a successful, fulfilled woman, you need to connect with people who challenge you to grow, who validate your light, and who are walking a journey similar to yours. Healthy relationships aren't those that avoid discomfort. They're the ones that encourage your expansion in a grounded, emotionally safe way. People who empower us aren't the ones who agree with everything. They're the ones who respect our essence and support our autonomy. So take a look at your inner circle. Who makes you feel more alive? Who allows you to be whole without having to shrink or edit yourself? It's in these kinds of connections that your true identity comes to life. Healthy relationships are the invisible foundation of success. They hold us up in hard times and push us forward when we forget how strong we are. 6. Failure is growth in disguise. Many women avoid failure as if it were proof they're not capable. But in reality, it's one of life's greatest teachers. Psychology shows that we learn far more from our mistakes than our successes, because failure forces us to stop, reflect, and adjust. Smart and empowered women don't avoid falling. They fall, get back up with more clarity, and move forward with a deeper sense of who they are and where they're going. Failure is a form of soul, refinement, Every disappointment carries a chance to grow stronger from within. Every closed door reveals something about your direction. A smart and empowered woman doesn't define herself by temporary results, but by how she responds to them. And that's the difference between staying stuck and moving forward. Those who grow through failure transform pain into wisdom, not into self-judgment. Accepting failure as part of the journey is liberating. It breaks the illusion of perfection, the one that traps so many of us. When we begin to see our setbacks as growth processes, our self-esteem grows stronger, because we start trusting in our ability to adapt, rather than in the need to control everything. That's how emotional strength is born, the kind that doesn't depend on circumstances. And with that strength comes an essential new skill for the next level of awareness: listening to and trusting your intuition. 7. Trust your intuition. Intuition is a natural form of intelligence, but many women were taught to doubt it. Science shows that it's not magic. It's a fast, complex response from our unconscious mind, built on past experiences, subtle perceptions, and connections that go beyond logical thinking. Smart and empowered women learn to recognize this inner wisdom as a powerful decision-making tool, especially in moments where logic alone isn't enough. Psychologically, women tend to have a stronger intuitive sense because they're more emotionally attuned and more sensitive to contextual details. The problem is that, socially, we were trained to mistrust this inner knowing, and the result? We end up making decisions that seem right on the surface, but feel completely wrong deep inside. A smart and empowered woman breaks this cycle. She listens to her body, pays attention to inner signals, and begins to trust the quiet messages that come from within. Trusting your intuition takes practice. It means quieting the noise around you, stepping out of constant urgency, and listening to yourself more honestly. When you learn to decode your inner language and understand how your intuition speaks to you, your decisions become more aligned with your values and your true identity, and that alignment makes your steps feel more grounded, even when the path isn't fully clear, because, at its core, intuition is your soul trying to guide you. Even when your mind doesn't understand it yet, even when your conscious self still struggles to see your worth. Living by these 7 rules isn't about following a rigid manual. It's about consciously embodying them until they become part of who you are. Because when you start living from these truths, you set yourself free. You gain clarity to decide, focus to take action, and inner strength to hold what truly matters. That's what personal power is. That's what makes smart and empowered women win. Winning for them isn't about competing with anyone. It's about building a life that's authentic, a life with meaning, direction, purpose, and autonomy. Now tell me, which of these 7 rules do you need to bring into your life right now? Share with me in the comments. I want to hear from you. If this video resonated with you, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and send it to a friend who also needs to reconnect with her inner strength and to keep moving forward on your empowerment journey. Watch this next: How to be a woman who commands respect in relationships. I'll leave the recommended video at the end of this one and the link in the description below. Majesty, your power already exists, and now you have the tools to put it into action. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been, an incredible woman. See you in the next video.